Hey guys, Joe here, the Joe Madden Sports Podcast, joined this afternoon by Anna, fantasy editor at NHL. Anna, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I am so excited to have you here as well. I can't wait to talk the game tonight with you, game four. But before we get into that, let's talk about you. Anna, how did you get into the industry?
So I played hockey my whole life. I'm half Canadian, half American. I spent some of my life up in the Toronto area and the other part down in DC. But I mean, like, if you're Canadian, you're just kind of born into it. So played hockey my whole life. I coached hockey, and then eventually I got to the point where I was like, hey, I should make a career out of this. This sport's been my entire world. So I love talking about it, and I'm so grateful to be able to do this every day.
That is an incredible story. I didn't realize that you played hockey yourself. Did you play on an all-girls team then?
I actually played boys hockey
You
up until
did.
one semester of college hockey that I played down at the University of Virginia. And so I grew up playing boys hockey. I had the time of my life playing boys hockey. Honestly, I thought it was just the coolest thing in the world and it was so much fun. So, yeah, I guess I played all different types of hockey and it's been fun. All girls hockey is great too. It's great to be able to share the sport with other women who like playing as well.
Absolutely. That's fantastic to hear, Anna. What position did you play?
I was a center. I wanted to be a defenseman so badly, but I'm on the smaller side, so they never let me. So I was a center.
Do you remember your first moment playing with all the boys? Were you little playing with all the boys, like when you were on official team?
Like, I was a kid, obviously, the
Yeah.
first time, so it didn't feel that different, and, like, growing up, you idolize a lot of the same players, like, I remember, like, my defining moment, like, any Canadian kid my age was seeing Sidney Crosby score that golden goal in 2010, and you go out onto the ice, and, like, days when you got to choose your own, like, player jersey for a fun practice, you saw everyone wearing Crosby jerseys, so, like, you just kinda feel like a team, and hockey's one of those special sports where it's really a community, right? Like, everyone lives at
Absolutely.
that rink, the whole family's involved, so it's just such a special sport to be a part of.
So, growing up in Canada and America, who was your NHL team, and has that changed as of today?
I've always just loved the sport. So people like my friends will make fun of me and they'll be like, "You're such a bad fan." And I'm like, I'll watch whoever's playing because I just love hockey so much. But it's been really different. Like in Toronto, the Toronto Maple Leafs are such a historic franchise and they have such a stronghold in that fan base over there. But I lived down in DC when the Washington Capitals won the Stanley Cup. And something super special was when I played hockey in DC as a kid, not a ton of people played hockey. They'd be like, what sports do you play? And I'd be like, oh, hockey. And they'd be like, oh, field hockey. And I'd be like, no, 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 like ice hockey. So it wasn't the most common sport down there. But after the Capitals won the Stanley Cup, I was actually a coach at the practice rink that they play at down there. And I saw such an uptake in kids signing up to play hockey. So many young girls in the DC area signing up to play hockey. And it was just amazing to see like a franchise, even if it's not in a traditional hockey market, like up in Canada or the northern United States, when they get those star players like Ovechkin and Backstrom, Holtby back on the team back then, TJ Oshie after his Olympic stint. You see all these kids in that area really just start to pick up the sport, and it's just been amazing to see how much it grew in DC while I lived down there.
Yeah, absolutely. What age group were you coaching, Anna?
I coached everyone. I coached the mini mites all the way up through
Oh.
13, 14-year-olds getting ready to get equipped for the next stage in their hockey career. So it was just great to, one, introduce young kids to the game for the first time and then take the 13, 14-year-olds, really help them refine their skills and get them ready to play in college or play junior hockey, whichever route they choose to go.
Absolutely. You pretty much hit a really good nail on the head up here in Canada. It is such a family event, hockey. Are you finding it the same thing down there when you're coaching these families that the families are getting just as involved as the Canadian families that you do see up here?
Absolutely. I think hockey is just one of those sports where you have to, and your parents will complain about having to wake up at 4 in the morning, drive in the pitch black to drive you to some tournament in the middle of nowhere, but they're there with all the other parents, they're talking to all the other parents, and then it just becomes a bond. And it's so great to see like the whole families really get involved at these rinks. And like I've talked to a bunch of the parents of the kids I've coached. Some of them have never played hockey in their lives, and their kids just saw the Capitals on TV and were like, you need to sign me up for the sport. And they really asked me about it. And then in Canada, obviously, everyone played hockey. So it's just a great culture. I think like that's just what that makes this particular sport so special is you truly feel like you're a member of the family if you play hockey. It's just like one big community and it's just amazing.
It definitely is all community, the hockey community. It's fantastic. Now, talking about you, who do you think is the most influential person in your life that did push you towards hockey? Did that come from your family?
It did. It was absolutely my dad. He's your typical hockey dad. He's there at all the games, all the practices. He was hard on me, really always pushing me to be the best player that I could be. But, he's the person who made me fall in love with the sport in the first place. I remember when I was younger, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try figure skating because I was a girly girl. I was like, I love their little like skating dresses. It looks so much fun. Like, why am I playing hockey? Tried it for a week. My dad was like, you're going to hate it. This is not the sport for you. Tried it for a week and I was like, I gotta go back to hockey. You were right. So like from the beginning, he's always introduced me to that sport. Been there the whole time. My mom's also done it too. I mean, she's a hockey mom. She's been there for the whole stint. But my dad has definitely been the first person who introduced me to the sport and really encouraged me to keep going, especially when I moved down to the States because I started playing up in Canada where there were rinks at every block and there were so many opportunities, so much coaching available to really help you get to that next level. But when I moved down to the States, like my parents had to drive me way further to get me access to the same level of coaching to help me continue my passion for the sport. And I wouldn't be here without my dad for sure.
Oh, I love that story, Anna. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. So let's fast forward. You are the fantasy editor at the NHL. What what is that like, Anna? That's an amazing title. How do you enjoy it?
It's awesome. I'm very grateful for this opportunity for sure. But like growing up, watching hockey too, I've always been a bit of a stats gal. It's my favorite thing about the sport is to find out those stats behind all of the players and be able to predict because when you're in those shoes and you played the sport, sometimes you can figure out trends before they happen. So just transitioning into the fantasy market, which is growing so much right now in all sports, but especially hockey with the implementation of new technologies that they're trying to get started, like player and puck tracking. It's just been amazing. And I get to nerd out a little bit and talk about those deep numbers, and like people seem to love it. So it's been great.
That is fantastic. Now, we had the awards night last night. So many great players being recognized. What were your takes from the awards night last night? Were you shocked by anything?
I mean, not really. I think every single person who won really deserved to win. It was such a historic year. So many milestones were broken by so many of the players who came home with some of those awards. Seeing Austin Matthews win the Hart Trophy. Obviously, I'm from Toronto, as well as the Ted Lindsay. It was great. He's just the second U.S. born player to do so after Patrick Kane, which is big shoes to fill. And he had that historic season with the Toronto Maple Leafs, setting a franchise record with 60 goals. And it's just been awesome to see because, like I said, Austin Matthews is from Arizona, and there are probably tons of kids in Arizona who had never cared about hockey before, but getting to see him grow the game in the States, and especially grow it in a part of the States that isn't too familiar with the sport, it's just amazing because he's going to be my version of Sidney Crosby for the next generation, and it's awesome to see.
Oh, he definitely will. He's just absolutely incredible. Tonight we have game 4 between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Colorado Avalanche. The Avalanche are leading this series 2-1. Who do you think hoists the Stanley Cup, Anna, at the end of this?
So it's tough. I've been talking a lot throughout this series about how critical home ice advantage is for both of the teams that are playing. They are two very, very good home teams. So either the first team that steals a road win away is going to be the team I'm leaning towards, or if this goes all the way to 7, Colorado does have that advantage in game 7. So it's either the first team that's going to win or not, but I think it is going to go all the way to game 7, and I think it's going to be a very, very close end. But we couldn't ask for a better Stanley Cup final. These are two dynamic teams, two of the best teams in the league, and it's just been a joy to watch so far.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to watch these players giving their whole heart and soul. We did see Colorado really dominate in those first 2 games, but like you said, Tampa at home was dangerous in the last one. We're able to shut down Colorado. Will be interesting game 4 tonight. Where are you watching it?
For sure, I'm just going to be watching it at my house. So I'm going to be having a relaxing evening watching it. I'm actually flying to Toronto tomorrow. So I'll be enjoying my last little night in New York. Nothing too exciting happening here anymore. The city's kind of lost all the energy ever since the Rangers got eliminated by the Lightning. But it was crazy here in the Eastern Conference Finals, like just seeing the atmosphere of the city. So I'm sure Tampa's going to be crazy tonight.
Well, don't feel too bad. My Calgary Flames went out by the Edmonton Oilers, so that hurt us too. But city's still alive here. Everyone just loves, loves the game here in Calgary, Alberta. So lots of people rooting for the Colorado Avalanche to get it done over the Tampa Bay Lightning. That's the way I have to go with this one too. I really hope to see them win it, Anna.
For
So
sure, it would be great. I mean, there was a lot of guys on that team who really deserve a Stanley Cup after being some of the most dominant players in the league year after year. A lot of them have had a great postseason, so if they can get it done, it would be great to see. But Tampa's not going to go down without a fight. They want to create that dynasty and get that elusive three-peat.
Oh, do they ever? Well, Anna, thank you so much for joining me here on the Joe Madden Sports Podcast. Can you let everyone know where to find you and all of the content that you have at the NHL?
For sure, you can either follow me at Anna Noel Dua on Twitter or at NHL Fantasy on Twitter, and you can find all of our fantasy stuff, podcasts, segments, articles, the whole breakdown at nhl.com/fantasy.
Awesome. Thank you, Anna, so much for your time today. It was a pleasure having you on.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.